Thanks, Joanne. And I think starting off, wanted to thank everybody for taking the time and joining here today, and for the SBDC to give me the opportunity as well. And like Joanne had said, kind of primary focus of today is going to be helping you kind of understand the tools at your disposal to build and maintain your own website, and leverage a lot of the new kind of AI functionality that Wix in particular has rolled out to its customers. So, and again, I think it kind of makes the design and management of things, and even configuring for search engines and your marketing plans a lot easier. So, I think we have a somewhere around an hour and a half here. The first kind of 45 minutes to an hour will be kind of me going through some stuff, including a demo of Wix, and then leaving it up to the group if there's some questions that we can go through. Want to save some time for that, obviously, at the end as well. A little bit of background on myself. So I actually graduated from SIU Carbondale in 2020, where I did my MBA program. While I was there, I had worked as a graduate assistant in the business incubator down in Carbondale, where I worked really, really closely with the SBDC. Um, and while I was there, I had founded Cod Interactive, where I kind of started doing kind of more complex type websites using WordPress as kind of a back end content management system, but have since kind of migrated more towards Wix. One, just because of the usability and a lot more of the functionality that they've put into it here over the last 3 to 5 years, I would say. Since 2020, I've partnered with over 50 businesses to do design projects, and that could be anything from kind of simple, one-page websites for groups that just want to kind of have an online presence to more complex, websites where customers might want to accept payments or sell products or do those sorts of things as well too. So I've kind of had the full gamut in terms of different projects that we've worked on through Cod Interactive. As far as what we're going to talk through today, in terms of agenda items, I wanted to start with one, just kind of an introduction to website building, kind of talking through some of the things that you'll need, as well as really a comparison of some of the different content management systems that you might have heard of or seen advertisements for on TV, and how those are different from Wix. I think the second piece of it is, what I think at this point, the way that things have gone, everyone knows that, websites are important, but why having kind of a smart, analytics-driven website matters now more than ever. Again, I'll kind of talk through some of the Wix AI features and functionalities that are now available, and then kind of get into that demo, and then kind of wrap up with more so some items of how you can kind of manage and maintain it effectively going forward with kind of as little kind of intensive effort as possible. And then again, get into that Q&A session. But my goal is, by the end of this, one, you're able to kind of define, your website's goals and why you want or need to have a website. Know those AI tools that are at your disposal, be able to build your own website using Wix, and then effectively maintain it going forward. So with that being said, we can kind of go ahead and jump into things here.
Real quick, Jake, I forgot to mention, we are recording, and we will share the recording with everyone, and the slides after the presentation.
Awesome. So just kind of starting at a high level here, why have a website, right? I think the kind of biggest reasons that I see now, with the way that things have gone, where everybody is searching on Google, everybody is getting online to try to figure out where they want to purchase a service, purchase a product. I think the biggest piece of it is it's an opportunity to really gain credibility and trust with your customers. Again, you have control over your brand when you have a website. I know kind of an alternative path that some people take is, hey, I want to kind of have a Facebook business page, and that'll just kind of operate as my website. That's good in some circumstances, where a website, for example, gives you full control over, again, how you want your brand to speak to your customers with that first interaction, which is so critical. And the other piece of it is customer convenience, right? So they can kind of have a place to go to at their convenience, figure out, again, some of your more frequently asked questions, figure out your hours, and just kind of how your business operates, and how they can, again, purchase your service or reach out to you. The other piece of it is there's so many things going on online. One, whether that's on search engines, on social media, or even through like ChatGPT on some of the more accessible AI tools people are using, where people are searching for things online, and it's more so a way to if customers are searching for something to drive them to a centralized place, for you to be able to capture those leads and potentially convert there. And then lastly, if your business needs to book services, sell subscriptions, book appointments, sell products, again, it's a place to easily do that as well too. Um, Now, why having a smart website matters? I have a few statistics here that Wix actually has put out due to some of the studies that they've done as well too. And again, just kind of more so, uh, I guess, reiterates some of the things that I've already mentioned. Where one, 81% of shoppers are going to search online for something before they purchase a product. Another kind of big piece of this, and we'll see kind of how this is managed within Wix today, and how easy this piece is. But a lot of those searches are coming from cell phones and mobile devices, right? And one of their studies had shown that for every second that there's a delay in terms of the load time on your website from a mobile device, your conversion rate drops by 20%. So something so minimal in terms of making sure that the website is very intuitive and fast in terms of load time can lead to, again, a greater conversion rate on business. And lastly, if your website and content are unattractive or just difficult to navigate, 28% of users just stop engaging. So nearly one in three visitors to your website will just leave if things aren't configured properly or set up in a way that is going to be easy for a customer to experience. Um, Now, a few of these you might have seen, whether it's online or just heard of. But I wanted to kind of give a comparison here of kind of what I view as the four content management systems, or in terms of content management systems, places where you would go to build your website, that small businesses or kind of new people to website development would go to use, right? And I think that's Wix, Squarespace, Shopify, and WordPress. So we can kind of start with the Squarespace piece, and then come back to Wix here. Um, Squarespace is, I would say, it's very comparable to Wix in terms of usability. But where Wix is much more like freeform, right? And you'll see that here in a second. And I guess by freeform, I mean it's very much like a PowerPoint type experience where you can add things onto the page and then scroll them and drag them around wherever you want, very easily add stuff in. Squarespace is much more like boxed and structured, where you're not going to be able to do a lot of that freeform movement. But for some people, that structure is nice, right? Where you're not going to like kind of break anything from a kind of a theme perspective, or everything is going to kind of look nice and tidy. But it doesn't really give you kind of that flexibility to move stuff around as much as you'd like. Similar to Wix, Squarespace is kind of like an all-in-one subscription. So typically, when you're going to have a website, the things that you're going to need are one, a content management system, two, hosting, right? So there's going to have to be some sort of hosting that you have to keep your website live. And then a domain is kind of your third one. And that's your, .com, .net, whatever you want to use for your website, you're going to have that domain name. And with Wix and Squarespace, it's an all-in-one package, right? Where you can have all that within one place. As far as price goes, Squarespace is technically the cheapest by a dollar per month with their kind of starting package versus Wix. But again, very, very comparable in terms of price there. But that I would say is comparable to Wix in terms of usability. Now, Shopify is a big one where if you have a website and your primary focus is I'm going to just sell products, that is the sole purpose of my website is, again, my website is my business. This is kind of one to consider. It is kind of a structured design experience similar to like a Squarespace, all in one subscription. So everything is included in that. It is user friendly, but it is a little bit more on the pricier side at the $29 per month. But again, it is kind of an option where if your sole purpose of your website is to sell things, it is one to maybe take a look at. WordPress is kind of on the far end of the spectrum where if you have more of kind of some development background or really kind of want to dig in and try to figure out how to do some website building outside of some of the more user-friendly stuff, this is an option where, again, you're going to get a lot more flexibility. You can do a lot more in terms of creating functionality across the website and kind of having it do some things that might not just be like in your typical themes that some of these others might provide. Um, that's going to kind of provide a little bit more flexibility there. This is kind of one where you're going to buy your hosting and your theme separately and then add it into WordPress. So there are some more kind of steps in place there. But it is going to be kind of your lowest option cost wise, typically about $10 to $20 per month. But again, that's one where you're going to have to be much more involved in the process as opposed to some of these other ones. So why Wix for small business? And this is kind of what I've seen over the last 5 years or so. But one, when you kind of take into account the monthly cost of the subscription, the time that you're putting into the website, it's typically your lowest TCO. So it is going to kind of be, and again, maybe some of those others might be in the same ballpark, but at least from what I've seen, Wix is kind of going to be your cheapest option. One is it's extremely, user friendly in terms of being able to use that, and they're continuing to add functionality in to make it even easier to navigate and use. It has a good e-commerce storefront, especially for like typical small business volume. Like if you're not having people buy stuff from your store, literally all day long, every single minute, it's going to perform the e-commerce functionality just fine. And the last piece of it is the AI tools that are getting put in there. So I know that some of the others are adding AI functionality in, but Wix is, at least from what I've seen, probably the best in terms of giving you, I guess, good starting points on building the websites, optimizing for search engine, doing all those sorts of activities uh, with an AI assistant. But Wix, I would say 5 years ago or so, or maybe even before that, had some kind of connotations where it might not be able to have the best functionality or not kind of do some of the things that you need for your website. But that is certainly no longer the case. It's a great content management system. So with that being said, I am actually going to jump in and we can kind of start walking through this here so you can see it live. Okay. And I'm going to start going through here. If you can't see my screen for any reason, somebody just let me know. But um, I've used Wix before, and this is kind of like what I would consider my demo environment. So you're this is the ultimate landing page that you'll get to, but there will kind of be some steps that when you sign up for Wix, it'll kind of take you through to understand like what you're looking for with your business and how you're going to use your website. And again, we'll kind of go through that here in a second. But I think one of the coolest things about Wix is you can actually have a free plan to get in and design your website, set all this stuff up for the most part without actually paying anything. So you can kind of go through the process of building your website on your own time before actually paying money and having it go live, which I think is a really kind of cool feature to where, again, you can take your time building your website and not really have to worry about that. But for the purposes of this, we're going to create a new website, and I'm actually going to do two here over the course of the next, I would say, 30 minutes. One is we're going to do a hat company, just so you can kind of see the management of products and what that store page kind of looks like. And then the second piece of it is going to be a lawn care service, so you can kind of see what it would look like to kind of add in that second layer of booking services through your website and kind of scheduling and how that stuff works as well too. So I'm going to go through those two examples here. Um, but we'll start off and do a new website creation, and you can see right away this kind of AI functionality comes into play now. You can set it up without kind of going through the chat, but from what I've seen, this kind of sets you up in a really good spot to kind of start building the website and do those sorts of things. But so we're going to go ahead and start the chat here. It's going to ask to, hey, tell me a little bit about your website. And like I said, I think we're going to start with I run a hat company called um, Lid Logic. and we will drop that in there. And then it's going to go ahead and ask, what special features you need. So we'll say multi-page website with a contact page, store. And again, everything I'm putting in here, you can decide how you want to do this. And I think the cool thing about Wix is you can go through this whole process just to try it out, delete the website, and then just create a new one. Once you kind of see all the different prompts and how the output kind of looks. And you can kind of see over here on the right where it'll kind of start building what's called my site profile, which is kind of think of it as more of like the brain of your Wix kind of CMS. And it's going to kind of put you in a place where when you start building the website, a lot of this information is kind of there on the back end. So we'll say baseball caps, beanies, cowboy hats. Drive leads from Google and social media. Okay, and it should be wrapping up here in terms of creating the site profile. So now it understands again the type of business that I'm running, kind of what I'm looking for with the website and the goals that I have there. So it'll now take me to the dashboard here. So this is kind of your landing page in terms of everything that's going on your website, right? And you can kind of see the items that are listed over here on the left. You can kind of track your sales, set up how you're going to get paid. Wix has a payment processor that they have called Wix Payments, but you can also kind of loop in those third parties like Square, Stripe, PayPal, those as well too. But again, this is kind of where you're going to manage that, your catalog of products. Um, your inbox if customers are messaging you through the website, your list of customers that have purchased from you and some of the other tools that we'll kind of get in here later in terms of like ongoing management. But this kind of setup page right here is great in terms of kind of walking you through the process of actually setting up the website. And now some of this stuff, since I don't actually have a kind of a Wix package that's paid for. Some of this stuff won't kind of generate, but you can at least see like where you would kind of connect the domain that you purchase when you sign up for Wix. You can have a business email tied to um, that domain name, and then we'll take a look at setting up payments, right? Because for the purpose of this website, that's a really important piece. You want to get paid for your products here. But then you can go in and kind of click and say, okay, here's what I want to accept. Um, in terms of payment options. So maybe it's credit cards, debit cards, if you want to accept Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal. And you can go ahead and continue through here. And then once you get to this page, again, once you kind of set up your package, you're going to be able to go in and configure if you want to use Wix payments to link to your business bank account, or if you want to link into one of those third parties, right? And all those kind of have that flat fee, per transaction, which is typically it's a small percentage of kind of the overall cost of the product. I want to say it's about 2% or somewhere near that is kind of the standard that I've seen across a lot of those. And Wix Payments is the same. But again, this is just kind of the process that you would go through to set that up. And I think now is kind of a good time to call out. I don't know if you had seen in the top right corner here. There's an AI kind of agent functionality where anything that you have questions on as you kind of go through the Wix website, you can ask this kind of AI agent here to give you instructions or um, like how you might do something, right? So I think that's kind of a good tool to use as well as you're kind of going through this process of setting things up. Um, so we'll go back to the setup page here, and you can kind of see some of the other things that are listed out here. And one would be kind of adding, your product, which we're going to get into here in a second. But I think the other piece that's important is setting up your shipping and delivery. So for a storefront as well here too, and you can kind of go through and define like, hey, what are going to be the regions that I'm shipping to, whether that's domestically in the United States or internationally. You can kind of go through and add different countries if you are selling internationally, or if you just want to define like, hey, I just want to sell in the state of Illinois or Missouri, you're able to do that. But you can go through here and kind of edit for these different regions if you want to offer free shipping, a flat rate. But I think the kind of uh, best route for this is you can actually add in a rate that's just calculated by USPS. And when you kind of go through that process here, you can, set like, hey, I just want to do kind of your standard ground shipping or priority, depending on how you kind of want to move your product. But then the important piece is just adding in your business address or the address of where things are going to be shipped from, so that USPS can give you kind of that accurate or give your customers that accurate cost for shipping. But again, that's kind of the process of adding that piece in there. Um, and then there's a couple other things like get found on Google. We'll get back to that piece here in a minute, but we're going to kind of dive in and actually look at the design process of the website here. So you're going to be able to click this design site portion, or you have the ability here. It's going to be at the top of your most of the screens here on the dashboard is design your website. Um, and you're going to kind of see right here that gives you the option to kind of browse their set of templates that they have on Wix, which they have a good number of those. Or you can start kind of a design with AI. So for the purpose of this, we're going to go ahead and start with the AI generated website. And it already kind of has a background on, again, your business and what you're looking to do. So that always helps with kind of the generation process here. And you'll see it here over the next few seconds kind of start to generate on the right-hand side of the screen. And then you can kind of go through here and scroll and say, is this kind of a starting point of what I'm looking for? If it isn't, you can kind of go ahead and tweak the design and have it generate something again. Or if you kind of go through here a few times and it's like, hey, I really don't like any of these kind of general layouts, you can kind of go back to their template library and find something. But again, these are just starting points. You're going to have the ability to kind of go in and change a lot of this stuff as we go. So we're going to go ahead and continue with this design and just continue to the editor because again, you can use the demo environment here for free. And you'll now see the actual editor dashboard here. Okay, so now the website's loaded here. And at the top, I'm just going to kind of call out, you can see a few different things. And one I think is one that I use very, very frequently, but it's this preview section. So at any time you can kind of click and it'll load this as though you're just a website visitor. So you can just kind of see what things look like as you're going here. but we're going to go back to the editor. And the other piece of it is you can see the desktop view as well as your mobile view just by kind of toggling between these two things. So that right now you're seeing the mobile experience of your website, and anything that you kind of change on the mobile section here is not going to affect the desktop version. So, for example, some stuff in terms of design on your desktop version might not translate. You can always delete that out of there and kind of play around with that to where it's not on your mobile version, but it is on your desktop version. So there's a lot of kind of flexibility there too. But like I mentioned earlier, I like to really compare Wix to PowerPoint in terms of kind of the freeform design that you have because you truly can just click in and begin to change things, right? So, uh, like maybe we want to just change the text. You truly can just kind of click in and edit things the way you want, and then you kind of have that same like PowerPoint like functionality where you can say, "Hey, I want to change the color of the text here." Or maybe I want to bold something, put it in italics, underline it, change the kind of size or style of the text, and then you can change the font as well too, and you have a number of different options. Again, very similar to like the Microsoft products. You can even kind of set up some more like effects here in terms of how things are emboldened. We will go here. And then at any point too, you can always kind of have this, and again, very similar to Microsoft, there's the ability to link in different, you know, other websites, other pages as well too, that you can include right here as well. So, and again, you'll see this here in a second too when I try to add in like a button for a call to action. But this is kind of your link um, wizard, I should say, where you have the ability to then turn around and say, do I want to have this link direct them to a specific page on my website? Maybe it's an external website address. Maybe it's I want them to, when they click it, it'll open up to send me an email. Or if you're on like a mobile version, you can kind of tie your phone number in here too, to where if they click it, it'll ask them if they want to call. So there's kind of some cool stuff you can do with the linking there. Um, and like here you can kind of click in, change the background of kind of the general layout here, where maybe I want to add in one of my own images, or maybe I want to change it to again something that Wix allows me for here with their kind of library of stock photos. Um, and then you can kind of see here with like these buttons that are across the website. These are again just ones that you can click into and change the text. And again, set those links to go there as well too. You kind of have the footer and header here. So like the footer, for example, again, nothing changes in terms of like your ability to drag stuff around. But this is kind of where you're going to be able to add in some of that stuff around your website address. But then these social media bars are pretty common as well too. But these are extremely easy to utilize where you can come in here and if there's any sort of different social media that you want to have linked to your website, you can add in those social icons or just delete the ones that you don't want. And then it'll like ask you for the link to like your Facebook page or your Instagram page, for example, and you'll just drop that in here. So that it's really simple where once you publish the website, people will come in and if they click this, it'll take them directly to your social media pages. Um, Lastly, you kind of have the header piece here where you can see the menu. And this, depending on the website layout that you have here, it could be either like a horizontal menu like this, or it might be like a hamburger menu. And maybe on the other one that we do here, you'll be able to kind of see that. But when you click on this, you have the ability to kind of manage the menu where you have all your different pages. You can go in and hide it from the menu. If you don't want it to show up there, it'll go away. Or if you want it to show in the menu, you can obviously change that as well too, but it allows you to kind of scroll up and down in terms of how you want the layout to look. Um, and then you have the ability to turn it into a sub page to where now it's a drop down underneath like the home page, for example. So you have the ability to configure this however you'd like. So it's really simple process there. You kind of have your shop like cart icon, and this just kind of lets you pick like what you want that to look like. Um, where it's going to kind of take you whenever someone clicks on the cart, whether it's going to pull up a whole page or if it's just going to kind of show that side view of, hey, here's what's in your cart. But again, allows you to kind of play around with that as well too. And then again, very similar to like the Microsoft products, uh, you really can't screw up the website here because you have the ability to go back and undo um, literally anything that you've done already or redo, depending on kind of what you need to do there. So again, I love the way that the editor kind of functions in that regard. Um, Now taking a look here at kind of your dashboard builder over here on the left. So one is you can add elements in, right? And maybe that's adding in a new text that you want to add in here. And again, I'm not going to kind of go through the process of designing that, but you can kind of see where you can add that stuff in. Just click to delete it. Um, you can add in a new image. And I did want to show this functionality that is in Wix now too, where in addition to the stock photos that they have, you do have the ability to use AI to generate an image for you. So let's say someone wearing a hat at a baseball game. And it'll go ahead and generate some photos for you that you might or might not want to use for your website. But again, kind of add something to not exactly the hat I'd want to wear to a baseball game, but we can use this image for the sake of things here. And it'll add it in. But again, something where with AI and how things are today, you could ask it the same prompt 5 different times and it'll give you 5 different outputs. But something that you can kind of play with and use, especially if you really don't have any kind of pictures of your business or you're just trying to kind of design things for the first time. It's a cool tool that you can kind of play around with and use there. Um, some other kind of elements that you can drop in is anything from contact forms to buttons like I had just kind of played with there earlier where you can add in links to certain things. And again, your buttons can link to a number of different places. Like one could be like PayPal, for example. You can drop in different social media bars or social media elements here too to add that to your website. Um, you can add in different store icons. Literally, I mean, there's a number of different things that you can kind of play around with, including video as well too, which you could add from YouTube if you'd like, and you can kind of search videos through here as well too. But you can drop in anything you might need. The other kind of piece of it is sections. So as you kind of go look throughout the page here, it's broken up into these different boxes where you're able to then use some of the templates that they have here. Like let's say, for example, I want to add in an about us section. I have a number of different things, or I can kind of use the AI assistant to have me generate a section for me. So a section I can tell my customers about my business. And then it just goes ahead and kind of generates a good starting spot for you. So let's say I want to add this in, and now it's dropped into your website here. So I can turn around and it accidentally dropped 2 in. You can just click to delete it. And then you can jump in and start editing. So just kind of again, another cool AI functionality that's built into the website. The last thing we'll kind of take a look at here is kind of the site pages and menu. section. So again, you like I had mentioned, you have the ability to come in here and add new pages. And very similar to like the different sections, you have good starting spots here that maybe you want to add in an about us page. And now you have a kind of a new separate page altogether here. And maybe I want to name it history. And then I decide like I want to have history that's kind of listed as a subpage underneath my about section. And that's kind of how you go about doing that stuff here. You can hide it from the menu again. But then something that is I think kind of important to take a look at is each of these pages has a section for the SEO basics. In addition to some of the stuff that like Wix itself will kind of have you walk through. This is good stuff in terms of adding in different information for kind of optimizing your website for Google. And it takes some of that information that we gave it earlier and is already kind of going to kind of do some of this stuff. But it gives you the opportunity to add in like a meta description where when it comes to small business, I always really recommend a lot of like location based keywords. So I would say like hat best hats in Edwardsville. Right. And this is whenever you get on Google, it's kind of that meta section is going to be what shows up underneath kind of the search, I guess kind of link and title here. So you can kind of list that out and again it kind of shows the recommended length of meta description that you want to have there. But something you can play around with, and again you can even kind of use secondary or external tools like ChatGPT to kind of help create a meta description based on the type of page that you're looking at and again your location where you're going to want to try to drop in those keywords there too. But I personally, don't think it's as important to kind of jump into the advanced SEO stuff. I think the SEO basics is kind of enough in terms of what you're looking to do here. And again, there's kind of a setup checklist that you can kind of go through on the Wix dashboard page that'll have some stuff set up for you, like Google Search Console is one where you can link your website to that so that Google starts kind of crawling your website to kind of index you in their search results. But we'll take a look at that here in just a little bit. Okay. And then the last thing I want to show here too is you can add items into your menu if you want to send somebody to an external site. So maybe that's you have your website, but you have kind of an external tool that does like your booking or your scheduling that you like a lot more for some reason. You can always add in a page. Or actually, you add a menu item and you can just set a link, right? So you can drop your kind of URL in here and it'll generate a menu item to where if somebody clicks on that page, it'll just direct them to an external page or website, depending on where you want to have them sent. Directly from your menu. You don't have to create a page in itself there. And then lastly, this again kind of gives you the option to kind of change the general kind of theme color. And there's actually the ability in here to like drop in your logo or your color scheme and have the website just auto generate to kind of fit your logo's color scheme. But you can kind of go through here and here's where you can kind of drop in the logo, or you can kind of give the AI the prompt in terms of what color scheme you're looking for with the website, but it kind of gives you some options to choose from if you don't like kind of the initial one that it gives you, like this black and white, for example. So we'll take a look at the store items now. So you can go to this store page, and we will take a look at your products page. So whenever someone clicks to come to your shop here, this is what it'll look like. And then you have all of your products here, and you can manage this from kind of that site dashboard that we took a look at earlier, or you can kind of click in and edit these on a product basis just from the editor here as well too. But you have I guess two things you can do from this page. And the first thing we'll look at is settings, right? So this kind of shows you the display here where like on the left-hand side, they kind of have the filters that they can go by. You can go through and edit what this looks like. So maybe I don't want the header section here over the products, or maybe I want to get rid of the filters altogether, or I don't want, you know, whenever you're looking at kind of the product descriptions here, maybe for some reason I don't want the price to be shown. So we can get rid of that. Um, and then there's just some different things you can add in, like you can add in a button to send something directly to the card as well here too from this, but just kind of a more so a settings for the page itself. You can click into manage products. And here's kind of your more so your hub for adding new products, adjusting the ones that are kind of already listed out here. So we can take a look at editing this product. And again, this is all on a product by product basis. So you can drop in ribbons. So if you want kind of earlier where you can filter by certain things. You can add in like, hey, if something's a bestseller, if it's new, if it's on sale, you can kind of manage that stuff from here. Change the name, change the description of the product from here as well too. And then you can list out your price, right? This kind of stuff like cost of goods is more so like for your internal analytics if that's something that you want to add in there. Um, and then you can adjust the images and videos as well too that are displayed within the store page. You can change the SKU number. And then I'll click into inventory here just to kind of show what that looks like as well. But again, just some of the different things that you can do from these product sections, right? And I think kind of the other piece of it is this marketing and SEO portion. So again, you can create a coupon for like a specific product or just for your store in general. Or if you want to click in and like promote this product, for example, it'll kind of go through and give you some options to say, hey, do I want to set up like a Google ad for this product, a social media post, Facebook or Instagram ads one? I know this one is you know one that I see most commonly. But it'll go ahead and kind of walk you through creating an ad campaign for that specific product or just for your store in general. It kind of lets you choose that. And then categories here, again, kind of lets you set, a category name. Like if I want to say like, male hats, and it'll add that to the category. And again, kind of gives you the filtering capabilities on your store page to let people kind of filter through what they're specifically looking for. Um, but that's everything that you have here on your product page that you can kind of go through and edit, and it'll reflect that on your store page on the website. But inventory here is something that you can manage too, where like on your website, if you want to say something's out of stock, you can have it shown that, or you can have it in stock and kind of have that as like your kind of two general um, areas in terms of how things are tracked, or you can track it based on quantity. So if I want to say, hey, I've got 20 of these, whenever I hit 20, it'll automatically, tell anyone that looks at it on my store that it's out of stock. So you can go through and kind of manage your inventory the way that you'd like there. Um, and then the last kind of piece that we can take a look at is you are actually able to go on and create gift cards as well too, virtual gift cards for your website. Um, and that's something again you can kind of do and play around with once you have kind of your Wix uh, subscription in place. But that is kind of the walkthrough of the store here. We will now go back to the main dashboard and create that new website that I mentioned. Actually, we'll just do it without the chat assistance here. Um, and again, what I'm doing now is we're going to do another example of like a lawn care company where you can see what it looks like to book and schedule services here. Okay. And now it's created kind of the dashboard page here where you can go in and start designing the website. Um, we can use a custom template here just so you can see what these look like as well if you decide to go with this option. But you can use any sort of different kind of filter here to toggle through and see what you might be interested in using. But for the sake of time, we'll just go ahead and click in here. Okay. So let's take a look at services. So very, very similar to the products page. You're going to get a catalog here of services instead of products. And again, when I kind of went through the process of telling Wix what I wanted, and I had listed out like I wanted a portion for like booking or scheduling, there's like a Wix scheduling app that I just added to the website, which is kind of why you see this catalog here now as opposed to um, the products portion that we saw with the hat company, for example. But it gives you kind of three examples here where you can kind of click through and again, very similar to the products, you can change the name of the service, change the description, and show the base price, and change the image that's going to be kind of the thumbnail for the service. Um, Down here kind of lets you again kind of link some of the things where similar to like kind of the Facebook ads that we had seen on the previous portion or Google ads, you're able to kind of walk through some of the Wix recommended steps to trying to kind of generate some leads for this service specifically. Um, then you can go ahead and save that. Okay. Um, and then we can look at like let's say we want to add a new service again. It's very similar to just editing the similar one that we have in place there. Um, then we can take a look at booking the services. So then this is kind of where you go in and for each of the services that you have listed, um, you have the ability to set specifically how long the session is going to last or how long the service will take. With your kind of internal calendar on Wix, if you want to say, hey, I don't want anybody to book services within an hour of each other, or this service within an hour of each other. So when something's finished, someone can't book until at least an hour afterwards. You can add that buffer time in. So when they kind of look to book that, it takes that into account. Um, you can even set like for payment preferences, you can say the entire amount online, or you can kind of click and say, hey, if we're going to do cash payment, you can set it to be like, hey, we want to do the entire amount in person, or you can take a deposit online and accept the rest in person. However, you want to kind of manage your booking process. That's how you can kind of go about that. And then you can, again, set the location details. If you have a staff and you want to assign specifically a member to it, or offer like, hey, if someone books this service, they have the option to choose a different staff member. That stuff can kind of be edited and changed in here as well. Um, and again, this is just kind of something where you can kind of add in like cancellation, rescheduling policies once you kind of go in and update your plan to be active. And then lastly, like with the booking request, you can automatically accept them, or it can be something where, hey, I want anytime someone tries to book something, send it to me, and I can approve or decline the service. You can have that set as well too. Um, and then even by kind of how they're booking the service, you can have it booked per session. You can have like a plan, for example, if you want to create a membership, you can have that established as well here too. So kind of some cool stuff that you can do from the booking side of things. Um, and then here you can kind of see the availability that you have listed. And this is again just something that you set up within the dashboard to say, hey, these are my business hours, so that you can kind of limit, hey, maybe if I want a specific service to be available from 2 to 6, for example, you can kind of limit that for Thursdays or Tuesdays or however you want to manage that as well too. You just have to kind of adjust this within the work schedule. And again, you can kind of add staff hours and everything as well here too. But that is what we have here from a services or booking perspective. We will go back to the dashboard here and take a look at just a couple of things. So one is there's kind of this marketing homepage over here on the left. And this kind of gives you, I had mentioned earlier, some of those steps to do some of the things that are required. Oh, well, I would say recommended, but it is almost required now to start to register on Google. So one, there's a nice checklist that it can kind of have and walk you through here. I think the other kind of piece of it is kind of getting that Google business profile set up and then linked to your website as well too. And then you can also link your social medias to it. Set up different things like Google tags, subscriber forms. Like if you want to do email marketing, like you can link in MailChimp as well, which is kind of the one that's, I would say, the most popular email marketing subscription. But you can add that into the website as well here too, and use AI or their templates to kind of create those email campaigns. They even have some things here where you can connect your Facebook account and kind of use the AI tools to create like Facebook and Instagram ads specifically for your website or for your products or services as well too. And the same thing on Google Ads. So all that is available here in kind of your marketing hub. Some other things that are I think really cool is there's this AI agents portion, and if you want some things that are maybe even outside of the realm of just like website design, like this AI marketing agent, I think it'll ask me to publish my website. So once you kind of get this set up and have your subscription in place, this marketing agent will actually go through and help you build blog posts for your website. It can help create a marketing plan for you directly through here as part of your WIX subscription. And you can actually even have it design or an AI designed logo as well too, that you can kind of help guide and adjust. I think it costs $9 to have that logo generated, but once you have that, you can download it and have access to the logo files. And again, that's something that kind of the WIX platform can do for you as well too. And then lastly, well, I say lastly, I got two more things here. So one is the analytics page. So everything that you have happening on your website can be tracked from within here, and you can actually ask the AI agent, questions like the one it kind of has here. How many visitors returned to my website? What pages were visited today? Some of those sorts of questions. But you can kind of toggle in here and see, hey, in the last month, week, 30 days, where am I getting traffic? Where am I getting my traffic from? It shows like based on location, which for most, would be in the United States. And then you can kind of see some of the engagement stats here, which I think are really important where one, how long is somebody staying on the website, and is there a specific page that they're landing on where they bounce immediately? Because if that's the case, we kind of need to look at the design of the page and make sure that um, one, it's easy to navigate and the content is what it should be. But this is all stuff where you can kind of get very analytical with how you want to design and maintain the website based off of statistics that are actually live and active on your or from your website. So that's some of the analytics stuff that you can do. And then this automations functionality, I think is pretty cool as well too, because you can actually kind of go through and set up automations, for example, like, uh, and this can kind of be an example, right? So maybe if somebody abandons their cart, leaves the website, you can have, if they put in their email, you can automatically have an email sent out to that customer. Or another kind of common one is like if they book a service, for example, if you want to remind them a day before that their service is coming up, you can have that set up through here as well too. Um, and you can just kind of see like what it looks like to set up the automations here, where you can get pretty granular where if something happens, that's the trigger. You can say, hey, I want to, wait a day after somebody places an order, or maybe I want to adjust that and say I want to wait 30 minutes after they place an order and send a thank you note, for example. You can do that. Um, and kind of shows like, hey, this is a template that you can use, or you can create those with AI, or jump in and edit those as well too. But just kind of some cool stuff that you can play around with that's just included with the Wix platform to try to take one, work off of your plate, or also just like maintain that engagement with your customers. Um, but with that being said, that is everything I have here. So I want to make sure that we have some time for questions that anybody has. Obviously, feel free to ask those, and I'm more than happy to dive into that or get you answers if I don't know the answer to your question. So I think I see the chat here. Okay. So I have a few questions here from Amy, and one of them is okay, hold on. So we'll start with this one. So moving your current domain to the platform, this is a very easy process. So like let's say, for example, if you have something through like Host or GoDaddy, for example, and you need to transfer that domain over, there's a fairly easy process that you can kind of go through here. See if we can get back to the dashboard here. Whenever you go to connect a domain, it'll kind of ask you throughout this process, like, what do you want your website name to be? And if it shows that it's already been purchased or is in use, it'll kind of go through and ask, like, yes, I own this domain. And then you can upgrade your website to then connect the domain to your website that you're building here with Wix. Or you can just transfer it to Wix altogether. And you kind of have to work between your current hosting provider or your current like domain owner and Wix to get that transferred over. But once you do, you can just manage everything from within Wix, and that can be like your subscription for Wix as well as like your actual cost of the domain. So that process, and again, this is just something where when you go to connect a domain, a wizard will pop up here and kind of walk you through that. But Wix has a really good kind of contact for support as well too that can walk you through that live. Um, and then a few questions here. So instant downloads or content, and that's a good question as well. So like for example, like if you're selling like a book, or let's say you're selling like instructions or templates or anything like that for someone to use. It's within your kind of product section. If you go to add a new product, we can actually see if I can dive into that here real quick, just so you can see what that looks like. Because it's just a selection of, hey, what type of product is this? And if it is like something that's an instant download, you can click that and then just drop the file in that's going to be downloaded immediately. And we'll go to the products page here. We'll manage our products. And then right here, you can kind of see where it shows physical product or digital file. So maybe I want to sell that ebook. And when you come in to create this, you can kind of see where you have the file upload available. And again, everything else is very similar to the product portion that we've already seen, where you can set like, hey, if for some reason you want to have a limited amount of those, or add in different images or videos, or even like a preview of the file that you're doing, you can add that in as well here too. But that was a good question. So interactive in terms of video listings. So I'm assuming it means by that question, like with the product, for example, if you can have like a video that's being sold. That is a good question. I know that you can utilize kind of when you go in here to manage the products, you can set video as one of the things here, I believe. So you should be able to at least like set a video as a thumbnail. I don't know. Okay, yeah, I see you're saying instead of downloading like a PDF, for example, it would be downloading a video file. So I've never done that one before, but let me take a look here. So it looks like yes, there are, and you can kind of see here listed the supported files that you can upload that are video based, where someone can gain access to that once they click through and purchase the product. And it just sounds like if you have multiple files, like if you wanted to have like multiple videos, for example, it would just need to be uploaded as a zip file. But yes, the digital file can be added there. Then will WIX allow crowdsourced content for sales? That is a good question. Let me take that one as a takeaway, Amy, and I can get you an answer on that. Because at least as I'm aware of it, it would have to be you uploading it. But let me see if there's something that can be done there as well too with Wix. And then last one, any tips or recommendations for editing the mobile version? That is a good question too. So let's take a look at the mobile view here. And at least the way that I've done this typically, and I do know what you're saying, where it can kind of come off a little bit weird or delayed on the mobile version, is I'll actually kind of publish this and get the kind of domain example, pull it up on my phone, and as I'm going through and changing things, I'll just click publish and then refresh on my phone to just kind of make sure that it looks right. But other than that, I mean, I guess no real tips in terms of designing it other than just making sure the spacing is right. I think that's kind of the biggest thing that I've seen in terms of stuff that messes up my mobile version, at least. But again, I like to kind of look at it live as I'm going through just to make sure that stuff operates correctly. And then kind of the menu section as well too is one that if you have drop downs can be a little bit trickier. But all stuff that you can kind of adjust here too, where you can hide stuff on mobile. And I've done this a number of times with specifically different sections or photos too that kind of throw things off. Like I'll just scrap it all together and just make sure that on my mobile version, at least the necessities look nice. But I would say that's kind of the advice on mobile. Anything else? And I appreciate the questions. How much will the marketing align content to specific customers? That is actually completely up to you. So as you kind of go through the process of kind of that AI, and I don't know if it'll let me click through here. So I was going to go to this AI marketing agent, but with the different marketing stuff you can do, it'll have you, it'll define specifically the target audience that you're looking to market towards. And you can, again, set that however you want, or you can use kind of the analytics section to kind of see where people are based out of. And there will be like demographic information as well there too, that you can kind of help tailor some of that marketing stuff towards. But again, it does get very specific in terms of how you want to configure that. And I know on the Facebook and Google marketing, it gets even more specific in terms of like who you can market towards. But a good kind of starting point for that is using some of this analytic information to see like who's actually trafficking your website versus like who you think your actual target audience is. So there's kind of a little bit of back and forth you can do there. If people are beginners. So that's a good question. Let me think about that one too, because I think there should be something that you could have somebody kind of go through the process of like signing up or subscribing for something where you can kind of capture that information. But I don't know how exactly you could tailor that to like your advertising. Like for example, like I know you're probably, at least how I'm interpreting this, like if you have like a course, for example, like it's a beginner level course, how do I target specifically people that are kind of in that realm? Let me look into that one as well too, because it should be information that you can capture on the website, but how you could then translate that into your advertising, I'm not quite sure. So I'll take that one away too. Okay. Anything else? Yes. Yeah, we can take another look at that. So let's look at the automation here. And you can kind of go off of some of the suggestions that they have here. So you can go in and you can actually even create these from scratch. But they have a lot of the more common stuff as you kind of scroll through here. So let's look at like engage with customers, for example. So for example, let's say a customer came in and bought something from your website for the first time, and you just want to use kind of you just want to have something to tag them with. You can kind of click in, and again, you can kind of set this and kind of get more specific on things like, for example, like every time they order something, you don't want to, have something sent to them, but maybe it's like, hey, when this specific contact purchases something, and again, you'll collect this as they navigate through the website, and kind of go through the process of like purchasing from the store. But once they purchase, we only want to do this one time, right? And you can, if you don't, you can kind of trigger this, within a certain kind of time period as well too. Um, but that's customizable, and you can add different steps in here as well. Like maybe we want to set up something like we'll have another action. Um, so we'll actually do a condition. And this is kind of where you can go in and say, if this, then that sort of thing. So, if, for example, if they purchase in, like, let's call it Canadian dollars. Got it. Okay. Yeah, so I know what you're kind of thinking here. So let's actually exit this. So you're thinking it's more so internal automations as opposed to automating stuff with customers. So let's create a new one. Um, let's go ahead and start from scratch here. So our trigger will be, let's say somebody purchases a course and you know that takes, let's call it maybe 2 weeks to complete the course and get to where you would say they're probably ready for kind of the next step up. Or you can set a specific scheduled date for that. But let's say we're going to wait 2 weeks, and then we can send an email. And here you could go in and set yourself as a recipient, if you don't want to send something to a customer. And then this could more so remind you like, hey, it's been exactly 2 weeks since a customer purchased a course. And you can kind of go through and then decide, hey, I want to reach out to this, person, or you could even have an email sent to them directly to say, hey, congratulations on, purchasing the beginner course. We now have intermediate or advanced courses available at a 10% discount, or however you want to kind of frame that. So you could use it as like tagging a customer after a certain period of time, or you could set it up as an internal checkpoint for yourself. So hopefully that kind of answers or shows what you were looking for there. Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, I really appreciate the time. Hope this was yep. And one more question. Keep them coming.
Sorry, this is easier. If I want
Yeah.
to track somebody, do I have a unique visitor identifier or something like that if they aren't actually purchasing or haven't filled out an email that I can then use to target market?
Yeah. So if you don't have them fill something out, it typically will show you the demographic and all that information is collected by Google. So it'll show like the age range, the region that they're visiting from, and then the details around like visiting time. But I don't believe that it would show specifically if it would give you some sort of contact information there that you would be able to reach out to. Um, because I think that would be something you would set up with like Google ads, for example, or social media ads, where like one of the things that you could choose is someone like there should be a portion in there about people that have visited the site, which you probably have experienced like on Facebook or Google, where like you get on a store and then leave, and then like you start getting advertisements for that. I think there's some stuff you can do through there. Um, but you wouldn't be able to have some sort of contact or information to reach out to somebody that hasn't filled something out.
All right, is there anything else? Thank you so much, Jake. That was wonderful and very helpful. Thank you all again for joining us. If there are additional questions, you can certainly let us know, and we'll share the recording here this afternoon.
Awesome. Yeah, and did want to offer up as well too, if anyone has any questions, as you guys kind of reflect on this, I'll drop my email into the chat real quick here. Certainly feel free to shoot me an email, and I'm more than happy to try to track down some answers for you.
We appreciate that.